the tangible difference in policy between looking at this country versus a country that had a unified federal, national response. I don't want to say federal; they don't have a federal system, but a unified national response where the government stepped in and said, we're going to make sure that we're going to pay people to stay home. They haven't done it perfectly. The inequality has also grown in Sweden. That's not good. Or it's not Sweden, New Zealand. That's not good. But overall, their pandemic response is so much better than ours. They have avoided mass death. They've done everything they can to avoid mass death. I think that's a good thing. I'm a huge proponent of Medicare for all and stuff like that because I think it will help, prevent mass death. And this is one of those policies. If you're against this, like, you can look and see your alternative in action right now. What Biden is doing right now, that's the alternative.
Right. And I want to show the numbers here to really just, frankly, put to bed this bullshit right wing, but more people die in car accidents. Colin, if you could put this up. This is just, it wasn't hard to find this, but when people have said, well, more people die in car accidents per year than children dying, or some people have made the argument more people die of car accidents than just period people die of COVID. 1 year, that's car crash deaths. That's 2020 was, I think, 38,000 car accident deaths in the U.S. Here's 1 week. This was the last 7 days, over 9,000 deaths. I failed math, Walker, but I think if in 7 days.
But Jordan, the blue block is bigger than the red block.
But that's 1 year. This is 1 week. And then you have 1 month.
Oh my God.
This is 1 month. 36,000 deaths from COVID. 1 year of car accidents. So first of all, by the way, this car accident thing, it's a right-wing argument they use after mass shootings, by the way. So
it's an argument that Glenn knows is bullshit because a year ago he was explaining to someone why it was bullshit. Like, come on.
Well, he would say that was before there was a vaccine.
Okay,
but the thing is,
but hang on. The conditions that the problems with the argument that he lays out, that COVID grows sort of that hasn't changed. That shit hasn't changed. Yeah, we have the vaccine now, but we're still seeing a wave that's comparable or worse than the wave during over the winter. Like, this is bad. We're still in the darkest days. The Louisiana hospitals are still seeing the darkest days. That was a headline like 3 weeks ago. I mean, it's just people are dying all over this country from this very preventable, virus.
Right.
We're not doing anything to stop it.
I also want to point out, and this isn't specific to Glenn, but he wrote it, but this is a widespread thought. He said, I really don't understand what you think gives you the right to impose your own irrational judgments about safety and risks on other people's children. Well, you're doing that.
Yeah.
So in his view, and by the way, again, it's not, I respect the journalism Glenn has done. I don't respect some of the things he's been tweeting recently, but he's saying, who are you? This was to Walker and me on Twitter. Who are you to impose your irrational judgments about safety and risks on other people's children? Well, first of all,
rationality king.
It's your opinion that we're being irrational, just like it's our opinion you're being reckless. But you're telling others not to impose their judgments on other people's children's, but you're saying, because in your judgment, the risk to children's development of not being in person in school is worth sending them back now in a contagion box. That would be you imposing, whether it's rational or not, your judgments on other people's children. And by the way, it's not so simple as I don't know if he pointed this out, but other people said this. Well, if you're scared, keep your children at home. Well, for most Americans, it's not so simple, right?
Yep.
So if you keep your kids at home, where's the child care?
A lot of schools aren't even offering remote options anymore. Like this is, it's great. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. Our pandemic response doesn't make sense, and we're trying to balance sort of this extremist individual perspective, like viewpoint, I guess, that exists out there that policymakers think is so dominant, against policies that actually, when you poll Americans, aren't unpopular. I don't. Sorry, I have a cat in the room and just knocked something over, so that's what that was. So everything is okay.
Gene said that was a completely confused and run-on sentence. Say again, please. So, again, I'm not trying to make this about Glenn, but he tweeted out, "Who are you?" meaning who am I, and Walker, because he was in that thread, to impose our, quote, irrational judgments on risks to children onto other people's children. So I was pointing at, meaning, who are you to tell other parents close the schools and affect their children's development by your own irrational judgments? So my point was, but you're doing that only the opposite way. Right. So he might think his judgments are rational. I don't. I think they're just right-wing talking points.
Dude, he tweeted out in May 2020, he tweeted, unlike car accidents or heart attacks where the death rate is stable, the number of deaths increases virtually every day, sometimes exponentially, with no end in sight. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we're seeing right now. No end in sight, sometimes exponential growth. Like, yeah, it hasn't changed. Nothing has changed except, I don't know. He's changed.
There is the human element of we're burnt out. We want to go back to normal. But back then, they were all part of the we, that we're in this together. But suddenly, they're listening to anti-vaxxers who are against all vaccines, not just the COVID vaccine, many of whom, by the way, were vaccinated as children. And now, it's my freedom. Don't tread on me. Don't segregate society. I think we need to all start thinking. Obviously, this country is built on self-interest. Capitalism is basically about I'll get mine. Good luck to you. But when it's called life or death, yeah, it's not really your freedom. It's not freedom means individual freedom, but you're threatening other people's freedom, as we've discussed, Walker.
Yeah, and look, there are a lot of people in this country who can't get vaccinated for medical reasons, and we put them at risk when the people who can get vaccinated,
including many residents I know in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, don't get vaccinations or people who get vaccinated and they don't, the vaccines don't take or whatever, they don't get the full benefit of the vaccine. It's on everyone else to make sure that life is livable for those people and that they're not at risk just in their day-to-day. This is just basic. We live in a society. We live in a society. It is not every man for himself. And that mentality doesn't work. It creates a disorganized, pandemic response where every state is a different set of rules and there's no coordination. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying in the span of a year. That's crazy. That is just it's absolutely, it's infuriating.
Colin, put up that chart one more time so we could really just smack it in the face of these people. That's how many people died of a car accident last year. 38,000. So many COVID deaths the last 7 days. So if you don't know the numbers, 38,000 on the blue, this is over 9,000. So that's 1 week. Then take it to the other graph, Colin. 1 month. That would be 36,000. So 1 month is almost at the 1 year death count for car accidents. Secondly, just common sense. I don't even understand why I have to say this, because a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist would understand this. Car accidents are not contagious. They're confined to the one driver, the two drivers, the multi-car pileup. That's it. They don't, it's not, somebody I read somewhere said this would be like equating it to like there's a chip in one car that like the government or someone evil is, pulling to lead you to death, that it then through the car's digital system is spreading it to other cars, which is obviously technically could happen, I guess. But the truth is, Walker, if for whatever reason there was this explosion in car accidents to the point where hospitals are being overrun with car accidents, I think we'd probably do something.
Yeah.
And there are
comment on this was I went to visit. I got in a car accident last week, and my grandma came to visit, and then she caught the accident. It doesn't, like, oh God, it's a stupid argument. It really is, and not to look. We're at this point. I don't.
It's not just stupid, Walker. Let's just call it what it is. It's dangerous.